Here and welcome to this very special episode of The Conversation with Yolanda Trotman. I am your host, Yolanda Trotman, and on this hump day, it is so incredibly important, and I really wanted to do something very special for this particular episode because we are in the middle of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all of us out here watching know someone who has been affected by breast cancer, someone who has had breast cancer, or someone within your family, someone that's a family member or a friend. We all know someone who has been affected by breast cancer. And what was really important to me was to have a conversation, not just about breast cancer in just a very general sense, but a very real, personal, raw, unfiltered story with someone who can really give anyone who's watching this a stronger sense of why this is so important, why early detection is key, and especially as this affects women of color in very unique ways, and younger women are being afflicted with breast cancer. And this is something that we have to take seriously, whether you are a woman or a man who has a mom, a sister, an auntie, a cousin, anyone along those lines. This is something that affects women all across the globe, and women are affected on a daily basis. Many women survive, many women do not. And so this personal conversation is particularly important because my grandmother had breast cancer, and she had it at a time where there weren't any other options other than a mastectomy. And it's also important because I know other women, close friends of mine, who are survivors of breast cancer. And so it's so important that we have conversations with women who can talk about their experiences, but also inspire. So while we are talking about this in a very general sense, this is also going to be a very inspirational episode. So if you have not done so already, make sure you slide over to like, follow, and subscribe at all things at The Convo Pod Show. Make sure if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All you have to do is look for The Conversation with Yolanda Trotman. Make sure that you like the Facebook page and that you follow us here on Instagram, both here at this page at Attorney Trotman and over at The Convo Pod Show. So my guest tonight is larger than life. That's the best way that I can describe her. For those of you who know her personally, that's one of the ways that you can describe her. But she's also very bold. She's very much a fighter. And she is someone who I admire and respect. And she has been very open in sharing the experience that she has had in her own battles. And we're going to have a very unfiltered conversation tonight, y'all. So I do encourage you to tune in and to chime in, ask questions. I see a lot of you chiming in. I see you, G, Shamira, Jim, a number of you that are chiming in. Make sure that you drop us a heart. Let us know where you're watching from, where you're tuning in from. And of course, show love, because I will be periodically making sure that you also have Sonya's GoFundMe link, because we also have to talk about the other side of breast cancer and the way that it fails many women in terms of our healthcare system. But that's a whole nother story. So make sure that you share this live. If for some reason you catch us somewhere in between, you can also catch this on our website at the convopodshow.com. Y'all, let me get myself together. So anyway, so I see you, Sonya. But without any further ado, let me welcome our guest for tonight for this very special episode of The Conversation, Miss Sonya. Yes, sis. Yes. So as she is joining us, make sure, Shamira, I see you, sis. Let us know where you are tuning in and chiming in from. Especially if you know her personally, make sure you drop a wave, a heart, and some love as we have this in very important conversation. So, Sonya, hey, sis, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Listen, I'm fantastic, and I'm so glad that you're able to join me tonight for this very special, very personal conversation. You know, we had a chance to talk a little bit today, and I was already shouting in the car. Excited, so excited to have this conversation with you tonight. So, you know, I know you, and a lot of people have seen and watched you on social media, have watched your journey in terms of what you're dealing with now, but your story is so much greater than that. So for people who don't know you, give me 3 words that you would use to describe yourself.
Transparent, honest, and loving.
I was going to say bold. How do you
Both.
not put
You
both
gave
in?
me three. You gave me
Oh,
three.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But I cannot, that's mine. That's the very first word that would come to my mind, at least from the very first time that I even met you. Oh gosh, I don't even know how many years ago
Yeah.
that was. So for people who don't really know your story, where are you from?
I'm originally from a little small country town outside of Martinsville, Virginia, called Ridgeway, Virginia, which is actually right across the North Carolina line. Maybe
Hmm.
Salem, Greensboro. It's right in the middle of Danville, Roanoke. So that's
And so, do you have siblings?
I do. I have two sisters and two brothers. We're all from the same mom and dad. That's so awesome. My mother is deceased. We lost our mother unexpectedly several years ago. My dad is still pushing very hard at 88, healthy as he can be, still has his garden, doing all of those things that he did for us kids. So yes,
So what were you like as a little kid? Like, were you the same person or a similar person as far as
very much.
bold, outgoing personality, or did that kind of evolve over time?
Very much so. As a kid, I was that bold person. I was the one that was out doing everything and pulling everybody into to doing things, encouraging and just very loving even then. And just was a little fire pistol. I was probably more of a tomboy then. I think still tomboyish, but sexy and grown now. But I think my qualities, of course, have matured. But I think still that fiery, outgoing person that I was as a kid.
I'm seeing descriptions of you as courageous, for
Mm,
sure. And we'll get into a lot of that courage.
yes.
And for those of you who are popping in, how would you, if you know Sonya personally, how would you describe her? Because I'm not sure if she can see them, but I'm gonna of course drop some of those adjectives in as we continue the conversation. So Ridgeway, which I happen to know where it is because I have to pass through that. Yeah, my family's from Conway, North Carolina. Got to pass through North Carolina, all that in
Yes,
that area. Yeah, so know it quite well.
I think
Um,
big-hearted. I like that, Shay, because I am. That's
yes.
one of my. That's probably a blessing and a curse. The big-heartedness for me. Yeah, that's good. A light. Ah, thank you, Tracy.
Strong-willed, determined, all of that. Definitely. Definitely. So, so some people don't notice you have a basketball background. Tell us now, because you did say that you were a self-proclaimed tomboy. Was that
Yes,
the natural progression that made you have a love for basketball? Or were you just naturally athletic, naturally competitive? How did all of that come into play?
naturally an athlete and naturally competitive. Growing up, I was just God just gifted with every sport, not just basketball. So I was that kid in the community in the whole Henry area that was doing every sport. Basketball, I did volleyball, I did gymnastics, I played the clarinet. I was head majorette. So, and my mother
You
and my
played, wait, sis, you were in the band too?
played the
What
clarinet.
didn't you do?
I know, I know. Oh my God. And when I was majorette in senior year, I with the little short dress on and the boots, stepping across the field and, so yeah. And, the thing about it, my mom, I just remember my mother just pushing me and being my biggest support. Up until I graduated from college, my mother never missed not a single one of my events ever. I don't think she was there. My dad worked second shift, so he missed a lot of my playing sports. But yeah, so I came out of high school, parade American, scholarships from all the top schools, and then actually was going to Tennessee at the time. Pat Summit was the head coach there, and then I was dating an older guy, fell in love, and then dropped to scholarship there and decided to go to Virginia Tech. Was at Virginia Tech, needed some more Black exposure, then got a degree from Johnson C. Smith University. And from there, I was drafted and played on the first league, the WNBA league. And from there, the
The
story,
very first one.
yeah, yeah.
Get out of here.
I played on the first league and the league folded. Ephraim was the president. And it was just like a lot of, static with female pro athletes basketball at that time. So it was a tough run. It was very hard for the league period at the time. Even when the second league came in 2 years later, a year or two later, I ended up sitting on the board of things. And so I was on the board with them and had an opportunity to do a lot of input and be in the midst of still all of that great energy. That was my drive and my passion for life, was that. And then unfortunately at that time, I threw some blood clots on my heart and lungs after an emergency knee surgery. And the doctors called my family in and said that she's not going to live to see tomorrow.
And how old were you then?
I was in my late 20s, early 30s.
Wow.
Yeah, through some blood clots and pushed right through it. As you can see, I'm here today, and just went through a lot of that. But that was a sit-back time, and God came in at that time and totally redirected my life and told me what was next. And I had this long conversation, like, so you telling me to give up playing sports, something that you blessed me with? And I end up coming out of playing pro, went downtown to First Ward when it was nothing but rats and roaches, very poor.
Girl, tell that for people
Yes.
who just moved to Charlotte yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, but anyway, I digress.
Right. Adopted that community, and I went in every Saturday for about 5 years and gave back to those kids. Every Saturday, I went in and just gave back and educated them and to First Ward Recreation Center and loved on those kids, and then end up adopting one family because one of those kids ended up being ball players at West Charlotte, because then I went into the school system and broke a lot of rules, went against the grain, and just gave so much love to those kids. And it's from there I opened up, and that's where we are at now. So that's just
So, I mean, you've had a long history for people who know a little bit about your story and why giving back is so important to you. I thought I saw, maybe it was Shamara or somebody had commented, got a little bit far behind in the comments, said you clearly had to have been voted best all around in high school. Like
yes,
something.
I've got a lot of rewards in my high school. Best all around, best female athlete, best athlete in the whole Henry County, Martinsville, Henry County, which was probably 13 schools. To date, I'm the only female pro athlete that have ever come to the town. Then I have a male cousin who played for the Patriots, and we were the only two. I was the only female ever to make Parade All-American as a junior, because normally you don't get that notoriety until your senior year in high school. Along with the other things, I took Drew Mason's girls basketball team to the state championship. So there was a lot of, and I was just very competitive and always just wanted to be first at everything. That was always my drive. I want to be first at everything. I want to be on top. I want to be the lead. I want to be the head. And I've always just had that passion and that drive. But sports was very natural. I was just blessed. I didn't have to work hard with my skills. It was just there.
And so when you found yourself in that position where you had to give up, like you said, like what you loved and what you felt like God blessed you with, it sounds like you found another love in terms of giving back and working with kids. And you continue to do that from what I can gather as far as your community efforts. Now, for someone who's watching who really doesn't get why that's important, and I think everybody just understands on the surface level why it's important to give back, but for you, on your experiences based on what you thought that you were going to do and where you thought your journey was going to take you and where you actually ended up, how do you feel like your legacy is reflected in the work that you've done in working with young people?
From my experience and just having a lot of those kids still in the midst of me at this point, the legacy that most people talk to me about is my ground of showing consistency and passion to those kids about love of art. As to anything that you do in life, you got to put everything into it. You have to sacrifice so much. And I've sacrificed a lot for myself, for my students, for my family in life, period. So my kids will tell you that a lot of them, especially my females, will say that I made them or was a part of what they are today, because all of them are really successful. And every one of my girls went to college. There's not a single one that didn't go to college. Had I not been there with them, it would have been a different story. So I've always just given them that will you can do it. You will do it. Nobody will stop you. You will move forward. Be determined. Have character. Have poise. Have grace. Be a lady. And they all know that.
And I think that's so important, especially nowadays, because you still don't see where WNBA and female players. I had Ari Ivory up here a couple months ago, and we were talking about why we still in 2021 struggle with women's sports getting the shine that they deserve, female athletes getting the shine that they deserve, but only in certain areas or certain sports that are more mainstream. And I think for those of you that are watching, it's so incredibly important that you support your female athletes, you support the WNBA if it's just buying a ticket or whatever the case may be, because we don't do enough to support female athletics, especially in leagues that are dominated by women that look like us.
That's
correct. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, love. It's so unfortunate, but I think it goes way back, early days where we were the ones who were always supposed to be in the kitchen, being cute, having the babies. They just never accepted the fact that we have balance outside of all of those things besides working, that we are great athletes, that we are great moms, we're great whatever. And so the support really, and that's what happened with the first league, and that's what happened with the Stings. The support was horrible. It was horrible, and they end up, dropping the Stings here. So it's just like people have to understand, you have to go out and you have to show the love, no dirt. And the thing about it, we play below the rim. Guys play above the rims, even though we have girls who can't dunk, but we are shooters. We are pure shooters. We will outshoot a guy, period. They are above the rim. And so the talents, I mean, if you just sit back and just watch those the girls are phenomenal. They are beasts. They're powerful. They can score. They can win. They kick ass. They truly kick ass. So.
Well, I think for those of you who are just popping on or tuning in, if you know Sonya personally, make sure you drop, let's drop a pink heart if you know her for sure. If you were just a fan, drop her a red heart. And if you know her for real, give us an adjective that describes her. So we looking for pink hearts, red hearts, and adjectives, okay? Let me see what you got as we continue the conversation. And also, obviously, if you haven't done so, slide over to make sure that you're following her page if you're coming in through mine, which is So Sonya 15, obviously Attorney Trotman, obviously the Combo Pot Show. So you are also an author for people who don't know that. So tell us about that, and also tell us about what you have been working on since then, because I know that you've been working on some other things as well. But let's talk about the book that most people have either seen or have heard about it, and all its fabulousness.
The name of my book is Sonya D, Exposed. Everything that I write about, I pretty much use the word exposed moments because I always feel like I'm exposing things. And the things that I expose, to me, real. Like honest, real, straight transparency, no BS. So it's entitled Sonya D Exposed, the Diary of a Fitness Diva. And in the book, I took the opportunity to tell the truths about everything dealing with me. I talked about my gym. I talked about my struggle with Black women. I talked about my relationships. I talked about my family and coming out to my family and talking about the abuse, the sexual abuse that I went with my grandfather. So I went through that. I talked about me losing my mom. And then I talked about how I got this little precious little thing.
Oh, you brought up baby. Got to go. Come on now. So you can't just, the baby got to say, hey, baby.
Hey, Pumpkin, tell him, say, hey, mommy.
With a little hair done. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Diva. Oh, Diva doll. So I
love it. I love it.
Having heaven here on earth. And so it's just a book of transparency. Like, it is real. It is raw. Talked about a season where I was going through in life where I thought I was about to lose myself. And when I met Fantasia and how we came together and worked together, and how a lot of times God was waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And at that time, I was like, I was doing everything. I was waking up. Some days I was mad and angry. Some days I was praying. Some days I was in the mirror naked, playing with myself for pleasure and fulfillment. Sometimes I was working out. Sometimes I was raising hell. So it's just a book where it just tells the truth like the truth. And it also has a workbook with it that's phenomenal as well. That gives you an opportunity to put you into some situations and positions for you to reflect upon what your life is like now. Where would you be if your life wasn't taking the stand that it is?
And when did you write that book, and how can people get it now if they don't already have it?
So I wrote the book 3 years ago. This book has been out over coming up on a year and a half now, and they can go to my page and link, get the book. They can directly from me, and I ship it out. If you get it directly from me, you can get it autographed and a nice note on the inside. Of course, you guys know the business phone number. Just DM me, and I'll ship it right to you.
And what's the website? Because I'll make sure that I pin it and make sure I drop a link in the bio.
My website is being reconstructed totally down for the next weeks. So they would have to go to, it's on, help me out. What are all books on?
Barnes & Noble, Amazon.
Amazon, girl.
You know, Amazon rules the world anyway. That's a whole nother show. But they can get it there. But can they DM you and then you can send it that way?
And DM me. They can call the business phone, which is the information on my page, and then I'll ship it right to them. Give them the pricing, ship it to them, sign it, autograph it, seal it with a kiss, and it's theirs.
And so, where did the kiss come from? Because that's your thing. So, where did that come from?
So originally, when I was in the audience of people that I felt like I couldn't touch for whatever reasons, whether I had a time on the stage or I always like me saying kiss at the end was my way of giving. It's very positive. It's non-judgmental. It's loving. It has no color to it. So that's my way of saying I truly love you. I want to hug you. So I just say kiss.
And that's been you for many, many years.
It's forever.
For many years. So your fitness journey, and I think, and I know because we got so much to cover, and I don't want us to run out of time because IG be tripping when you get to that hour mark. So let's move on. But your fitness journey is so fascinating because what I love when I was watching you, particularly as you were evolving, like your edge, your boldness. That's why I said bold at the very beginning. And that the way that you challenge people, like you challenge them, but you also are inspiring them to be a better version of themselves. And so what was the transition that made you decide to go into fitness? And if any of your clients are watching, you need to drop one of those, drop a bicep so we know that you're watching. But how did you make the transition into fitness, and how did that become your passion?
Well, I think that it was always me. I think at a younger age, I didn't realize the direction that God really wanted me to go into teaching. I thought that he wanted me in the school system, teaching, educating. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but I think that there was another level for me. So what happened when I was in Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system, I trained my girls like that. My girls trained year round. And then I even coached the guys team when I first started, and they trained, it was no time off. And we did weights, we did track, we did hills, we did swimming, we did everything. And so then what I ended up doing in the summertime, training the teachers in the gym with my girls. And so then I said to myself, oh my goodness, it is time for me to open up a gym. And I was inspired by Dr. Vil Malik. And she just such encouraging, a motivator, a big supporter, mentor in Charlotte. Defended me so many times in Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. And she was my one that said, you need to open up a gym. And I was just like, wow. And I just started writing the plan. God said, write the plan, make it plain, though it tarry, wait for it at the end. It should speak and not lie. And that's exactly what I did. And I left the school system and opened up a gym. And I've been grinding in that gym for 30 years now.
Oh my gosh. And so I see a lot of strong arms down there. So quite a few of your former or current clients have dropped in. So definitely thank y'all for tuning in. Ooh, and has you in beast mode. Well, we already knew that. We've seen your workouts, sis. We know.
I could go. I just kind of said, Dub, see you.
Right.
Charlotte. Oh my God. Where's Charlotte? Like when I was at West Charlotte, I broke all kind of rules. I've always been a challenge and very daring and just a standalone. I'm like that person not afraid to do anything. And at the time, I thought I was doing the right things. Like I never forget when I was there and there was a kid that was homeless. And I didn't want him living in the streets, and I couldn't bring him home as a female. And I broke the rule. I left the gym door open every day, sleep in my office, and left soap and washcloths. And I never forget, the dogs came in one day, and one of my kids had some marijuana, and I took it and flushed it in the toilet so they wouldn't get kicked out of school. Because my thing in my head was, you would never get kicked out of school. You can learn, you will learn. There's no labeling, there's ADD, ADHD, you will learn. Because and so it challenged me and pushed me as a teacher. I never kicked a kid out of school, ever. And the kids know that. I was tough on them, but I was very consistent. And that's what they would really remember about me. So I went against the grain all the time. And going back to the gym thing. And even in my gym, you know, I truly feel now at the time that I put in so many years, I've got so many degrees. It's a gift for me. I don't write that workouts. A person come online and I go at it. No client gets the same workout. My client, if they've been training with me for 12 years, I don't think it's work. And I truly feel like now I am truly the GOAT. Like I could teach a lot of these out here, these young men and these women a lot when it comes to training. Like I would be in mentorship, like, because it has been some years of great experience and great opportunities and great push. And I've changed a lot of people's lives, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. Because I've had people to come in my gym who have been broken down, and I would not train them physically, but I would have prayer with them because I'm a certified life coach, and I would life coach them, and I would pray with them, all of that, and women and kids. So, you know, they get a lot from me.
And so I know we were talking about this earlier today, and I know we're going to spend some time talking about obviously your greatest battle right now. But one of the things that you said that COVID had really taught you was learning to deal with the energy suckers, the ones that were sucking and draining your energy, and being able to establish boundaries. And I think so many of us, whether you're watching live or you catch this on a replay, have had, because of this time, to really reflect on that. But you were also very candid in terms of people being aware that, you know, mental health issues don't have to be taboo. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. And that we have to embrace that, that it is real and there's nothing wrong with getting help, getting therapy, or any of that to be able to deal with those issues, because COVID has has allowed us to express ourselves in ways that sometimes is healthy, but oftentimes we're dealing with issues that we've never had to deal with in our solitude, dealing with issues in how we even communicate with people and all of that. So for you personally, before we get into your current battle, like what do you want people to know? Because I see that's very important to you in terms of the mental health aspect. What is it that you want viewers to know as far as that is concerned?
Well, I can talk about what I know as a life coach, and I can also really elaborate on my journey dealing with it and my family dealing with it, because those are things I've experienced firsthand. Is that we have to realize that, first of all, people have to come out of denial, and people have to understand that you have to put yourself first. I think that a lot of times we as a people, we put everything first, from husbands to kids to jobs to church to pastors, etc., and we forget about ourselves. I can talk about me, and I'm going to tell you the truth. When COVID hit, all gyms were shut down. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I didn't want to virtually. So that those that are on here now, I do everything virtual. And then 2 weeks after COVID hit is when I was diagnosed, and we'll get into that. But I'm going to tell you what COVID and cancer has done for me mentally. When I was in my gym 30 years, it took me now to realize that the people that were coming in my gym were sucking the life out of me. So though I walked around in Charlotte with a great body, my soul, my spirit, my mental was beat up. It was on the bottom. And I never knew it until now. Every day people would come into my gym, was dropping everything on me. Every problem, every issue. And not even that so much, because I don't mind that. It was the negativity that was surrounded in my gym. There were so many people in my gym backstabbing, dogging me, doing a lot of things that I connected with, that now that I'm realizing that I need healing mentally and emotionally because of all of that. I'm bringing all that negative, all of that in my house. So if you're training 50 to 60 people a day, you bring that mess to you. It's no different than life coaching. If you don't know how to let it go, you lay down with it. You lay down with it. And I laid down with it for too many years. And I've watched, even, from the mental illness, I've had some really serious depression moments since COVID and cancer. I've had some mental breakdowns. I've had moments where I didn't know whether I was going or coming. I would wake up and just prance up and down the halls in my house, just calling out to God, because that's who I had to really turn to totally to get through all the damage, not even the cancer that came, but all the damage that I allowed people to do to me. And I had to understand what was it about me that gravitated to the same people, because see what God will do? He'll give you the same situation with a different person every time to see if you've changed. And so I'm not saying that I was a perfect person as a gym owner or a perfect lady, because I've done and said things, but I think that the misconception that people have here in Charlotte, that they've heard from mostly Black women, is she's too real, she's too raw, she says anything, and they're not lying, because that is true. But you know what? I love that about me, and I love that about people, because how can a person be too real and too raw? Now, true enough, Yolanda, I had to work on my tone, but what I said was always truthful in facts. But I'm just going through a moment now. I just want to love myself. And I'm in a season now where I want to reciprocate, because when I love freaking hard. I love what you're good, you're bad, you're indifferent. I don't judge, I don't gossip about you, I don't talk about you. And I want the same thing. I can't say that in my life. I said to you earlier today, even in dating, that I've had people that really love me. I haven't had a man to run my bathwater, to cook for me, to text me first, to buy me stuff. I was always that person. And even in friendships, always taken advantage of. Even in my tongue, my heart speaks different than his mouth, because my heart is so big. I've always been the giver. And I don't know really what it feels like until lately. There's few people that God has put me around, what it feels like to truly be loved, truly be appreciated, and not to love me because she's a hell of a trainer. She's not going to miss a session. That's the girl that I am. I haven't even missed a session since I've been diagnosed with cancer.
Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna pause you for a second there. I want to make sure that people hear that. Whew, child. Diagnosed in July 24th, 2020. Continued to train. Ooh, Lord, I got chills. I don't know if y'all got chills. Lord have mercy. Still hasn't missed a session. Even in the midst of chemo, now.
Yes.
And if that doesn't move you,
yes,
you need to check your heartbeat.
That's right.
Because that's incredible.
Yes,
that's incredible. And I appreciate your honesty, because you are speaking for a lot of women who are watching this now or may watch it later, in terms of not really experiencing real genuine love from a man, or a man doing things for her, or what you just expressed just so eloquently, just having a man run your bathwater. Like, that's real. That's real. And especially for you being a giver and being as open as you are, to give that, but to not have yet received it. And so for those of you who are just catching us, the live will be back on the IG page, and it'll be on the website tomorrow through YouTube as well. But July 24th, 2020, that's the day.
That was the day.
So that's the day that you describe as that has changed your life.
Yes.
The day you were diagnosed.
Yes.
But what do you most remember, aside from the words? But what was it what do you remember most about that day?
Woo. It was just unbelief. It was shocking. It was a question of God, why me? It was of what's next. It was a question of death and real. And not, I'm gonna be straight real. Even to this day, when I lay down at night, I wonder if I'm gonna, because I'm still in it. Like a lot of people see my energy and they see my fight and they think that I'm just good. She's great. And I'm not. I'm just a fighter. I fight like hell every single day. I fight hard. I'm back on chemo next day. I do chemo every morning and every day at 3. I do 14 days on, and they give me a 7-day break. And I'm doing it until February 2022.
Until when? I think the audio cut.
February 20. They'll do a whole body and make sure there's no cancer anywhere else, because I was diagnosed with malignant neoplasm of the right breast, and so estrogen receptor positive, which means that my cancer is very bilateral, or it was. So when they removed my breast, they only had to remove a fourth breast, but they had to remove so many lymph nodes because it was already in my lymph nodes. When I was diagnosed, I was pushing stage 4, which meant that this time that it could have possibly been moving to whatever part of my body. So that's why I'm doing chemo now. One thing is because I have the type of cancer that can move to other parts of my body. The next thing is when they did my surgery, my lymph nodes were unrecognized. Cancer had eaten them totally, where they couldn't even recognize some of them. And so then when they did surgery, after my surgery, they saw another spot of concern. So I went in last Monday and I had a 3-hour mammogram, a very intense, they call a push. I have implants. And so it was very painful because radiation hit extremely hard. I also have what they call lymphedema. That's why I have to wear the sleeve, where you see people's arms and legs get big. I also have neuropathy, which means nerves in my feet and my hand are very bad. Like I can't hardly feel my feet most of the time, and my hands have no feeling at the top. My hands are getting a little bit better. So, just going through all of the things, Yolanda, and everybody that is listening, has been a journey of sit back and just. So I've taken the time really to fall back, even with training, because even when I was diagnosed, this is straight real, I was training Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night with 1 hour break, taking chemo. I had to have a blood transfusion. I threw blood clots in December. I was in a hospital for a night in training my clients. And I even
Wait a minute, sis. Wait.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You did what? I want to come over there and beat your little legs. What?
Yeah, I was in the hospital sending out workouts. Yeah, just crazy, just so dedicated. And then, what really caught me when I was in the hospital? I sent everybody a message and I said, hey, you guys, chemo, I threw some pulmonary embolisms. They're real bad on both of my lungs. Please pray for me. I had a client to hit me back and said, not how you doing, can I come and see you, but when are you going to make my session up? Was her response.
And then that?
Yes, it did. So that was my loop. Even that night, I laid in bed that whole night, and I reevaluated myself. And I came in the next week and I got rid of 7 clients that was draining and sucking the life out of me. And did not, why? Because told you no longer have a desire to train you. I wish you the very best. I love you. but I would not be training you anymore. And it took 30 years, because that was the first time in my 30 years I've ever said no to anything going on with the client. Yeah, like real. So it has taken cancer to really slow me down and to really help me to tune in. And God is just really showing me some really awesome things this time in my life as it relates to me first, and what he's doing for me for this next level. Get ready to put a platform of training, because he knows that I'm going to give it right. I'm going to be very in doing it. I'm true, even if he telling the truth about myself, because I'm just a very honest. Like I'll say, yes, Sonya did some crazy things. Sonya messed up. And so this is just where I am. Just in my condo for a year and a half. I did my first time. I stepped out on Sunday to a breast cancer that I was honored. Duchess honored me, and that was my first time out. And I was scared and nervous to tell because
girl, bye.
I was scared somebody was gonna be there with COVID. I'm telling you.
Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My immune system is compromisable, and plus my white blood count is so low right now. I've had both of my shots. I had my booster shot 2 weeks ago, and then had to have a flu shot Monday. So, everything that's coming out, I have to be protected. I have to protect myself. And I'm going to protect myself. Like I'm for real going to protect myself as it relates to it. But I'm going through a lot. I picked up C. difficile from the staff in the hospital. So when I tell you, mentally, my body, another thing that has really hurt me mentally is from going to someone that worked out every single day with every client, 6 days a week, to now can't feel my feet, fingers, tips are different, energy is drained. My physical ability is totally shifted. It's totally shifted. But perhaps it shifted for a lot of great reasons, so yeah, that's it.
Well, I think, and I'm catching some of the comments as you've been speaking, and the thing that I need to make sure that you see, if you're not seeing it in your feed, is that in this short period of time, you have already impacted a number of people. I see words powerful. I see woman of God. I see covered.
Yes.
Protected, because
yes.
If you didn't catch this from the beginning, y'all, stage 4,
yeah,
cancer.
Yeah.
And stage 4, as if you didn't catch it, can spread to other parts of the body. She continued to train. Now I'm going to fuss for a second about really in the hospital, sis.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yep.
Pivoted to virtual training for so many of you all who are clients who dropped in your bicep curl emoji, still training clients. I saw repeatedly in here, never missed a session. I saw repeatedly in here, creative, making up stuff on the spot, amazing strength, all of that. I need you to hear that and to receive that. So some of the things that you said that you weren't getting, I hope you're feeling it through this and just having the courage to share your story. But for those of you watching, understand that this is so incredibly serious, particularly as it affects us as Black women. Our breasts are naturally denser. Sometimes lumps don't show up on the standard mammogram, especially if you're not doing a 3D mammogram. You've got to do your monthly breast checks. And you got to make sure you're not doing it while you're on your period. You need to make sure that the timing is important, because your hormonal changes make a big difference. And we have to make sure that we're proactive, particularly with younger women, because it's disproportionately affecting younger women at rates that are scary. I mean, if Sonya here, fitness guru, author, all of this, it can impact any one of us. And we don't start at 40. I mean, whatever the recommendations are, okay, whatever. There's options and opportunities out there. So I wanted to spend a few minutes, because I think it's so important from your perspective and your story. Did you have any inkling before you got diagnosed? Like, what was it that triggered you to go in to see what was going on? And did you have any warning signs that you saw before you were diagnosed in July?
I had no warning signs. The crazy thing about it is I knew my body. And a couple days, maybe like on a Wednesday, I started feeling like kind of weird, like just a weird feeling. And then on each day, I was like, God, something is really going on. It felt like when I threw those blood clots. So in my head, I really thought I was throwing blood clots. So what I did, a really great friend, a rat who lives all the way in Gaffney, her and her husband, I got up on a Sunday morning and I called her and I said, Shonda, and of all the people I called her all the way in Gaffney. I feel like I'm throwing blood clots. Can you come get me? She drove in from Gaffney, took me to the hospital. And when I got there, they said, we feel like you're throwing clots. So they did a chest scan. They did blood work. My blood work came back up. They said, something is going on. So they did a chest scan. And when it came back, the doctor had no bedside manners. She walked into my and said, you have breast cancer. You have a mass on your right breast. And I looked at Shonda. Shonda looked at me. And I simply said, Shonda, help me put my damn clothes on. I'm out of here. It blew my mind.
Oh my God.
She got up, she walked out, she came back and she gave me some paperwork as to perhaps some doctors that I needed to see ASAP because she said it was really huge. And so I looked at, yeah, yes. And I looked at Shonda and we looked at each other. I cried. She helped me put my clothes on. I got in the car and I pretty much screamed from Huntersville Hospital all the way back to Cornelius, just yelling and screaming, Shonda, who do I call? I don't want to call this person. I don't want my family to know right now. What do I do? And it was just like unbelievable real to me. And then I jumped on it immediately that Monday. Saw my family doctor, saw a surgeon, saw an oncologist, saw a radiologist, saw a natural doctor, and started moving quickly. Because when they did the mammogram and the biopsy, they said, it's in your lymph nodes. We need to aggressively attack. They started immediately because it was pushing stage 4 into my lymph nodes. And that was how it happened.
Were you still getting your yearly mammograms?
I was not doing them every year. No, I was not.
Is that advice you would give to women now to make sure?
Oh, I would say absolutely, positively, you better do it. I'm telling you, I don't care about how people say mammograms are painful. Painful is better to be early detected for something going on than a little pain on the breast. You know what I'm saying? So early, absolutely. Do your self-check, get your mammograms, make sure you know your family history. Like it's not even, neither one of us has cancer. So I'm the first one. So you have to, and knowing your body, like, and when you feel something wrong, because we have a tendency of, it's just a headache, it's just something, it's just stress, it's just milk duds. No, you better get checked.
Did you say milk duds? My go-to is, girl, that's just gas. I got gas in my shoulder.
Oh, really? Yeah. I need some Pepsi.
Ginger ale cures everything. But we digress, y'all. We digress.
Yes.
We digress. And we're not making light. I promise we're not making light. Shonda, no. Definitely, I can see her up here commenting in terms of what happened. But you do raise an excellent point in terms of how women, it was your doctor, it sounds like your doctor was female.
Well, my surgeon.
The doctor who informed you.
Yeah, she was a female.
Which is even more disturbing, that a woman would just inform somebody without any sense of compassion.
It was totally rude. Embraced me. She didn't touch me. She was rude. And I turned and I wrote up a thing on her the next day.
Well, good. I'm glad you did.
Totally
so definitely the early detection, all of that is key. For those of you who are tuning in a little bit late, Sonya's still doing chemo twice a day, still training people. Okay. Anyway, still training people, and is still out here fighting. And I know a lot of you all are following her on Instagram and following her stories, and you have been so transparent. And I know that you have really had a tremendous impact on a lot of men and women that are watching. What are some of the things that you think that are really important that people should know? And I think I want to say this to the men that are watching or that catch it. The biggest thing that you can do is offer your support. You can't go in and fix it, but you can offer support. You can offer support, whether that is a shoulder to cry on, that's a listening ear. Don't also get caught up in that it could never happen to me, because men get breast cancer as well.
That's right.
And we're seeing increases in that. I spoke to a friend of mine the other day in preparing for this show, that they're seeing the numbers for breast cancer in men increase. And it's usually so much later, because there's not even a perception of that can't happen to me. And yes, it can.
Yes, it can.
And it's so important. So with the time that we have left, like, what's the biggest lesson you've learned as you've gone through this journey of being a fighter? And I ask you that because we know that you have been phenomenal since a child. Like, you just been everything, done everything, been that girl. Mm-hmm. But this, as you have told us tonight, has humbled you in ways and has made you step back and to really evaluate things. So what do you think has been the biggest lesson you've learned through your treatment process that you want people to know?
My biggest lesson has been self-love, just hit that reset button and putting myself first. That has been my biggest lesson, because that's something that I've struggled with for a lifetime. And I still struggle just a little teeny bit now. I'm a lot better, but just making sure that you take time out and hear all the signs that your body is sending you, from emotional to spiritual to physical. We get signs, we get warnings, we just don't pay attention to them. So you have to pay attention to your body, pay attention to yourself. Set aside, I came up with all kinds of excuses. My gym was my excuse of everything. That was my life. That was my life. I didn't take no time. I haven't been on a vacation, and for real, like, you really gonna slap me, in over 30 years. I have not been on vacation.
Well, I'm about to cut this. We're done.
That is promise you. Okay,
y'all need to drop an exploding head emoji for everybody who just heard this woman say she ain't had no real vacation in 30 years. I need all the exploding heads. Yeah, just pop up, because people look, sis.
Yeah, that's real.
Sis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a whole nother episode. We're gonna talk about that offline. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that offline. But so what does your self-care look like for you now?
My self-care now is that I'm doing everything that is going to bring total healing to my mental, because mental is the first thing anybody should take care of. It's mind over matters. It's always, you got to be strong mentally. So I'm feeding my emotions and going back even from generational cycles, things that were damaging as a kid, from releasing and forgiving myself. And I'm also continuing, as I always have. I've always been very spiritual, but my love and faith and trust in God has gone on a whole nother. So, and doing that, and physically just taking it easy and understanding that every part of my body don't have to be so glamorous and gorgeous and beautiful. So just rest in my body just a little bit. Those are the things that I'm doing right now for me, and taking some meditation time. Like, I lay down on my bed every day now for an hour or more and just meditate and just relax. Don't touch nothing. Don't answer nothing. Don't respond to anything. It's okay. And I just chill. And I take long walks on the lake with my puppy and my neighbor.
And what would you say to women who are watching, who, real talk, probably hadn't had a mammogram in a couple years, which some of us are very guilty of? And before you answer that, I will say this to women that are watching: even if you're worried about insurance, like, most cities have options. There are mobile mammograms. I saw somebody ask a question when I was talking about breast cancer increasing among men. There is a screening process for men as well. And there's options. So don't let that be a reason for you not to go there. Contact your local health department. There are plenty of options that are out there. But the question I asked is, what advice would you give to women? And then I want to spend the last few times, but we better not get kicked off at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna be mad as hell. But we need to talk about the healthcare system in terms of how that has impacted you as well. So what would you say to women who haven't quite been on top of it as far as their mammograms, other than get one?
To me, it's just simple. I mean, they have to have had or know someone that has been diagnosed with breast cancer, a cancer, period. You know, every 19 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. To me, it's just like a duh moment. Like, get your mammogram. period. There are no excuses. I don't want to hear it. You can't, there are many programs out there who don't have insurance, who have insurance, and you got to understand that if you're thinking in your process that it's a scary situation, think about how scary it is if you prolong the issue you're diagnosed with something like I have. So I decides get your mouth. Like, stop playing. It is serious. I don't want nobody to experience what I've gone through with this cancer. It's hell.
And people need to know that. This is, I mean, you've made us see it from a different perspective, but people have not experienced the pain that you've experienced. And that's real and that's raw. And but again, we could talk for hours. Now, I do want to touch on one of the main issues that the other side of this that people don't see, like who are you donating to when you're donating to these breast cancer charities? Because that's super important. You were very transparent with me when we had talked that, you're still dealing with healthcare costs, that as much as you've done in giving back, it's difficult to find the assistance that you need. I'm going to talk about your GoFundMe in just a second in terms of how people can help. But what has been your experience in terms of going through this with the healthcare system? That's been one of the biggest frustrations as far as the financial piece and how it's affected you or impacted you financially.
Biggest frustration that really has taken the stress of cancer on another level is me dealing with bills. I do have insurance, and even the insurance company gives me hell, write letters. I'm not going to cover this. I'm not doing this. But with my insurance, right to date, my last bill I got is $115,000. It was higher, and I paid much, but it's $115,000. I definitely am working part-time. I don't have near the money that I had coming into the gym. So every day, and this is exaggerated, every single day, nobody calls me at least harassing me about me paying. And I pay as much as weekly. And also with that, I have reached out to at least 35 plus cancer foundations, and not a single person has helped me besides one lady in Martin, Virginia, who donated some to me. Other than that, nobody has helped me do anything. So my question, my frustration is, when you are donating to all this, and they really take advantage of October, and they make all this money, who are you donating to? Who are you giving the money to? So I take a look at it as me, even the people that listen, and even the people that are out here who make donations. I've had my GoFundMe up for almost 2 months now. And my GoFundMe doesn't really show the amount of money that I've received. Even with that, though, I think I'm at $5,600, which I feel like for all the $1 million that Susan Goldman and all these people get, that my GoFundMe should be a lot higher than it is now. And that's real talk. Like, it is very offensive and very hurtful to know that I'm struggling with the amount of bills that I have and nobody's helping me.
So we're going to change that. We're going to change that. So for everyone who is watching, I'm going to put it, when this live is over, it will be in the feed. It'll be it'll be on my attorney Trotman page. Sonya will be able to put it on her feed. For those of you who are connected with her, then your link is in your bio, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the link is in her bio. The cost of a cup of coffee or an outfit. That's what I'm asking you all to do tonight, whether it's 5, 10, 100, 2,000, whatever it is, because a spirit that is this beautiful, that is this powerful, that has also been this transparent in terms of not only her fight, but the victory that is coming. Because we'll all go ahead and touch and agree on that the victory is coming, that the fact that she's reached out to 35 different agencies and no one has come through, and with $115,000 and counting dollars of debt, we all can pitch in. So go to her page, to the link in the bio. I will make sure that this also pops up on the replay, that you'll be able to see it. And if you're catching the replay through YouTube channel, it'll pop up at this part on the screen once we are able to edit. And so the last, we made it 9 o'clock, girl. We got a few more minutes. Yes. Jazz hands in the air. Woo, we made it past 9. Let me, I mess around and I'm pissed off Instagram. kind of song. Anyway, but what I really wanted you to speak to what you think has been the hardest thing physically that you've had to deal with your treatment, because I don't think people really get like what chemo really does to the body. Like, as they see you now, and that's why I purposely chose that particular picture for the promo, because I wanted it to catch people's attention. But
Yes.
people who don't know you, or they see you now, say, well, she looks good, her hair's grown back and all of that. She's on chemo, but she's okay. No, I talk to people in terms of what you're really dealing with and what chemo is really like. And hopefully people will make the connection that why early detection is key, so they don't have to go through what you're going through now.
No. The first thing, let me enlighten you. If a person tells you that they didn't lose their hair during cancer, it's because they didn't go through aggressive treatment. Anybody that loses their hair go through what they call the red death. You lose all your hair. You lose your hair on your head, your private areas, your underarm, your eyebrows, your lashes. That was me. I could not embrace it. I hated it. I didn't feel ladylike. It was the hardest thing for me. And even to this day, my doctor keeps telling me that with this chemo that I'm on, you're going to lose your hair again, or it's going to get very thin. It has not happened. My hair is growing. All this natural stuff to it. You get a black tongue. Your fingernails are black. My feet are black. Toenails on my feet are black now. With the chemo that I'm on now, if I can't use anything hot, if I put anything hot on my hand, I immediately get blisters. Immediately. It's not day late. My feet are the same way. So everything that I do have to be with cold water. My showers, my hair washing. If I make a mistake and cut on my water and my hands immediately are burned. Cancer does, let me tell you how chemo is a trip. Chemo kills everything for you. So I have to get my heart checked often to make sure that my muscles around my heart are not shrinking. I have to go get bone scans. I have to do brain scans. I have to do those scans often because chemo is aggressive. So what I've learned to do is listen, take what I do for my doctors, but I also do stuff. I have a natural doctor as well. So I don't myself up with it. I'm on hormonal pills because I tested positive for hormones. So I'm dealing with that. Also the blood clots. So those are my 3 beds that I take, but I also do all.
Sonya, repeat that, because I don't know if it's just on my end. It was cutting out a little bit on the audio. I heard diagnosed with, and I didn't catch what you said. Can you repeat that?
I diagnosed with breast cancer, but I'm also hormonal estrogen receptor positive, which means that I'm on hormonal pills as well. On top of that, I also take Eliquis, which is a blood thinner. Eliquis monthly is $500. I've also picked up dry eyes and my tear glands, and I have lymphedema under my eye. You guys probably can't see it well, but it's sunk in, and so I've got to have eye surgery soon, which is $9,500. That's discounted, and I've also got to have implant change because it's hard to rock. So these are all the things that are some of the things that you take a chance of going through with chemo. Chemo is hell. Chemo is bad. Chemo will wipe you tired. It keeps you nauseous. It keeps you moody. It keeps you cranky. It keeps your emotions all over the place and all of that. I just fight different. I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay, but I'm not okay. I'm not speaking it. I just want the people to think that smile and the little pictures that you put, that's me fighting. The devil is alive. I'm healed. He's defeated.
Amen. Amen to that. And I think that people need to hear that, and they need to know that it's not what they see on television, the little scene here or scene there. And, somebody may look tired, but people don't get or grasp until they hear this firsthand. Like just the whole idea that you have to do everything with cold water and how it affects just your skin and your sense of touch. Like that's real. And people need to know that. So definitely, if you're catching this later, share this, because people need to see this and know this. I cannot underscore this enough. Women, please, 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 please get your mammogram, do your breast exam. If you don't know how to do it and have never done it, I'm telling you, Google is everything. It'll show.
That's another key thing. Squeezing the nipple to see if there's discharge. That's a key thing as well. I never have any of that. Like my doctors kept saying, I can't believe you didn't have pain and it just any of those. at all. So, don't think because you can't visibly see discharge and anything that you don't have it. You better get those mammograms, those 3D mammograms. Make sure they do 3D and then all areas of both of your breast. And checking below the breast, right at your sternum, right at your rib cage, all of that. Underneath your armpit, because mine is very bad. Mine wasn't in the breast. They removed my whole 1/4 and my lip is very bilateral.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's super important, and you have to advocate for that, because if you don't, they'll just do the regular mammogram. And like I said at the top of the show, particularly with Black women, our breasts are just naturally more dense, and it's not going to catch it. So you got to insist on the 3D. It's out there. It should not be cost prohibitive. There's plenty of options out there to get that done, and make sure, like Sonya said repeatedly, you may be uncomfortable for a minute, if that, as you move them around. That minute or two per breast can mean the difference between a lifetime.
That's right. Can save your life. Can save your life.
So listen, let me first start by saying, girl, we made it past 9 o'clock. They didn't shut us down. Hallelujah. But two, I know that you got a busy day tomorrow, and I bet you better not be doing nothing other than relaxing once you get off this live. We're going to talk offline about training in the hospital. What the hell?
Yeah, no, crazy. Just absolutely dedicated, passion, and just in having the boundaries for myself. And that's just real talk. But I'm a different lady now. I have boundaries.
Okay.
I have a lot more self-love, and just being able just to really heal God, because I won't miss what he did to me. I've missed it too many times. And I've got too many lives to save, too many people to help, including myself. And I'm going to make sure that it's done. I just truly love people to help. I really do. And I just didn't have boundaries with it. I was just raised up to be a fight, push, and to just, and I thought it was right.
Well, I think I know this will impact the lives of many people who are watching, or if they catch the replay. So I just can't thank you enough for your transparency, for your authenticity. Is the baby still around? Can we see the baby? Is the baby? We gotta see the baby. Hey, baby. Now, wait a minute. For those who don't know baby's name.
Her name is Heaven.
And of course, how apropos, of course, little piece of heaven on earth. Isn't she cute, y'all? Oh my goodness. And Johnny Little just said that I was on when she trained Klein in the hospital. She just called you out in front of all these people. Yeah, I bet you won't do that again. Mm-hmm.
Mother, my prayer warrior. Now, why she show her little tail? Now, her and her daughter, as a matter of fact, it's like I had to get to the point right quick where I said, stop worrying about the people who didn't reach out to you when they found out, who hasn't reached out, and love on those people who are with you now. And I tell you, there have been some people, but I have to just really like Mother Little. She's a prayer warrior. I can call her any time of the night. I can just be me, transparent, say a little cuss word, and she just gonna plead the blood of Jesus. And her daughter, Miranda, they have just been my everything through it, and a lot of other people. Rhonda, who sacrificed many weekends, and her husband, she would come up and spend the whole weekend with me, and she would get in my bed with me, and she would massage, and she would pray over my breast. She would touch my breast, anoint it with oil, and all of that good stuff. Those have been my clients that I have now to date are phenomenal. God has given me the best clients to date that I've had in 5. I had a tough time at this last location with people, but it's truly a blessing. I'm so excited, and I tell you what, Monday I had a mammogram done, and they found 3 more spots, but I'm not afraid. I'm trusting God that they're just calcifications, and I'm back. That's what they're gonna be, and I'm just moving. I cannot stand this chemo, but I'm pushing right through it. I can't put on shoes. I wear Crocs every single day. That's the only thing that feels decent. When I go to bed at nighttime, sometimes I have to get up and shake the leg because it feels like I'm paralyzed. That's how bad neuropathy that is. And I thank God for my family. I thank God for friends, my neighbor who walks with me. She's texting me now, like, where are you? She'll come and knock in a few minutes to make sure that I'm okay. But it's just been, it's been a blessing. I just thank God for choosing me because he trusted me, because he knew that I was going to be a blessing to so many people. And the journey is not about the cancer. It's about me sharing and teaching people how to push through whatever your is in life, whatever your anxiety is, whatever your depression is, whatever your mental illness is, whatever your job, your husband, your kids, all the hell that we're dealing with in the world right now is that we have to have a push, and we have survival skills. And we have to know that in everything that we do, you have faith and you have to have trust in God. You have to. I don't care what nobody say. You have to. And you have to have that circle of people that's going to pour into you, touch and agree with you, love on you, and pray through everything we're dealing with, because we're in a mess. We're in a mess.
We are in a mess, but that was a whole word, sis. That was a whole word. So for those of you watching, a few things I need you to do. One, I need you to make sure that you go and follow her at Sonya15. Go to her link in her bio. Her GoFundMe is there. I need you to tonight make sure that you make a donation to her GoFundMe. If you didn't catch it in the early part of the show, the issues that she's had with organizations and foundations offering no assistance, over 115,000 in medical bills with insurance. Let's be clear, with insurance. And so any support that you can give to her is crucial, particularly as she continues to fight this journey, as she still is triumphing, is being triumphant rather, while still doing chemo twice a day. It's just incredible. You're just incredible. And we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. It is already done. It is already done. God is already claimed healing. We all that are watching claim healing in Jesus's name. Make sure that if you see her doing the most, those of you who are current clients, I get that she's the bomb and she's creative, but she's gonna have to sit down. So when y'all get her, when y'all at some point you need to say, okay, now, but did you sit down today? Did you sit down? Make sure that you're taking time for yourself. And of course, a lesson to all the ladies that are watching: self-care should always be your priority. Yeah. You are worth it. Your life is worth it. You have so much that you have to offer in this world. And that little couple of minutes of uncomfortable feeling with a mammogram can make a difference in the life you save, which could be your own. Men that are watching, as I said earlier, everybody knows someone who's been touched by cancer, in particular breast cancer. So be that support, offer that support. For those of you who have been survivors, we salute you. But tell your stories, reach out to other women. There's no such thing as being too pushy and not sharing your truth, because it's truths like this that can save a woman's life, for sure. So thank you all for tuning in. If you've not already done so, go over to the Combo Pod Show. Make sure you follow that page. Follow me if you haven't already. Sonya, I even hate to ask this, Jesus, but are you still training? Are you taking new clients? Say no. No. Can you hear me, boo?
You said what?
Okay, I think I lost your audio. I said, are you still training clients, or taking new clients?
Yes, I have 10 spots available. Yes, I do. I have 10 spots available. That I actually have 9, because I just got a client today. So I have 9 spots available. Yes, I am still taking clients. And I'm not going to overdo it. Like, I know my area of what I need to do. So I am taking clients. I would love the opportunity, Yolanda, to let you experience the greatness of the virtual.
I'm scared of you, girl.
I know most people
are scared of you from my house. I'm like, I don't want to do it. Because I know you reached out before. No, real talk, I was scared. I was like, no, I don't know if I don't know. But you know what? We got to do something, because because you know, I got all this stuff in my house and be looking at it every day. Keep right on walking. Yeah, right on walking. But yeah, we gonna talk about that offline, because I got some stuff I need to get it back. Yeah, right. Yeah, for those of you who are telling me don't be scared, I'm scared. I'm scared.
A lot of people are just intimidated because of I truly am an intense trainer, but I love hard. So I see people like where they are, and I really inspire and motivate. And I'm a coach. You know, that's coaching, so I do get on you. But I think that it's worth you giving it a try.
Okay, kiss, kiss.
And look, before you go, I just want to thank you so very much. You're such a beautiful lady, and I just enjoy talking about you to my neighbor today. About come on your lives, you share so much great information, as it relates to everything. And we need more of that. You know, people say, well, how can we bring more awareness? Bringing awareness. You are so beautiful. I want the opportunity to really get to know you and to eat dinner and laugh a little bit so you can see all the sides. So
that's done, child. You know I like to eat. So just
yeah,
don't be the food police. I ain't got time for that. You're gonna let me eat that chicken.
Yes.
You're gonna let me
Yeah. Every person that came on our live, we just thank each and every last one of you. And I just want you tonight to hit that reset button in your life, whatever it is, hit it. It is not selfish for you to take time for yourself so that you can be good for other people. If you don't sit yourself down, take time, have some fun, laugh, bring some balance in your life. You got to have balance. Then you're just wasting it. It is time to create the life that we were purposed here to be. And you have to do that. I love you to hell. Kiss, kiss.
Kiss, kiss. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you soon. Kiss, kiss, boo.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What would you do in this situation? So